You have to try to find ways to ground yourself. So, as I said earlier, I depend on the five senses. So it's about orienting yourself to the present day through what you can see, what you can hear, what you can smell. If I'm out and I'm triggered, it might be that I see a flower. So I'll look at the colour of the flower. I did it yesterday, actually. I was out on a walk and I was feeling triggered. And there was this one beautiful rose, pink rose. It was a very bright pink rose. So I stopped and I took in this flower and I smelt the flower and I felt the flower. And using those three senses enabled me to gradually start to ground. Strong taste. So something like coffee. I like a cup of coffee, have a strong cup of coffee. That's going to awake my senses. I mean, I'm sat here with a sparkling glass of water. Yeah. And this is something else that I will use. So if I drink a fizzy drink, the bubbles in my mouth will again orient me to the present. I have a wonderful therapist and she has done recordings for me. So she is someone I feel safe with. If I am triggered, I can put my AirPods in and play a recording that she has made.
I wouldn't say triggered these days, but like an uncomfortable reminder. It's not. I wouldn't say it was a trigger or a flashback anymore. It's not. But what happens is they became, instead of centre vision 4D, they became 3D, and then gradually they kind of become 2D. And the only way I can describe it is it's a bit like I've come through this tunnel of real challenge and illness and what have you. And but the kind of tunnel wall are kind of lined with these, but they're posters now rather than videos. So that's just how I think. And instead of being, videos and they're about to pop into my vision, they're posters, and I know they're there and I know they happened. And there are certain things that might just make me think of a particular poster or a particular situation, but they're not in front of my face all the time. I can carry on walking through and into new things and other things, new environments, new groups of people. And while I might get an occasional kind of, ooh, that was uncomfortable, usually, I know what they are now. I'm not taken completely by surprise because they're there. And I've got a much better idea of what happened, but I know it's past. It passed, and I'm walking through, and I'm coming out the other side.
My first approach to getting any help was to go to my GP. I labelled what I was going through as depression, which was understandable, and my GP took it face on and thought it was depression and gave me antidepressants, which actually didn't do any good at all. What I'd like to stress here is if you are encouraged, coerced, pushed into trying things that you know just are not right for you, have the courage of your own convictions to say, do you know, that isn't going to help me? Because I spent a lot of the first few years trying to compromise, trying to make something work that didn't work. And it's so important. If I'd listened to my instincts, I wouldn't have put myself and all my parts through perhaps so much trauma. That's easy again with hindsight, but trust yourself. You've got to this point. Trust yourself. There are times of intense periods when you're perhaps dealing with some of the trauma, something that you can go back to, like I could take the kids for a swim or something like that. That's so important. And to understand that's actually a part of your life as much as unpicking all the traumas, because the first help I had, we went into trauma much too quickly. I lost any ability to put a meal together, run a home. It was awful. And I was lost in trauma land. When I did DID therapy with a good focus on stabilization and a point to go back to, I could become the mum I wanted to be again. We could go out and do things together. And that was so important.